podcast never felt this great. Tables, ladders, chairs, they tell it all, from the highest highs to the lowest falls. Great and glory tales from the ring, every chant, every cheer they'll bring. Devon and the Duke bring the heat, wrestling tales knock you off your seat. Tune in now, don't you be late. Wrestling podcast never felt this great.
Brothers and sisters, we have made it. It is officially WrestleMania week, and let me tell you something right now. There is no one on the planet that I would rather talk to during WrestleMania week than our dear brother here, the Hall of Famer, 5-time Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time, Brother Devon Dudley. What's going on there, Devon?
Just sitting by my pool deck waiting for WrestleMania.
Man, listen, I done told you now. We done had snow in Boston. We had 67 degrees, rain. Every minute the weather changes over here, and you out there working on your tan.
Well, here's the deal. You ain't got to live in Boston. Come to Florida. It's like this. Tell the wife you're packing up and you're heading down south.
Listen, I may never come back, man. I gotta.
Hey, I've been gone for 23 years. I left New York, ain't never looked back.
That's a good point. That's the reason why I can't go. I may never. You know what's crazy too? This week, tree pollen is through the roof. So if you suffer from the allergies, people are just having a hard time this week over here, man. You know, it's crazy.
Really?
Is it bad down there like that?
The pollen, it can get to that level, but it hasn't gotten there yet.
Got it. Yeah. Eventually, everybody goes to Florida. That seems to be one of those places, man.
Florida is the move.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, listen. Before we even jump into our WrestleMania talk here for Devon and the Duke, I gotta get something straight, because the dirt sheets, the fans, a lot of people have been swearing up and down that there is some kind of heat between the Dudley boys and Booker T, and it goes beyond wrestling. Like, there's some hard feelings there, and especially between you and Booker in particular. So I got to ask you straight up here, Devon, because you ain't afraid to tell the truth. Is there some kind of issue between you and Booker T?
No, there's no issue. We play like that all the time. We play like that in WWE. We play like that in promos. We played like that in general. So for them to actually sit here and think that there's real legit heat, that's wrong. Look, I made a comment about the whole thing with Swerve and Booker, and all I said was these two brothers don't need to be fighting like this in public or going back and forth verbally. Don't give these people, anything to be able to write in their dirt sheets or anything like that. That was it. That's from the heart. That's one brother to another. And so, with that being said, we already fighting amongst each other. We don't need to bring it to the forefront and fighting amongst each other in front of people. And then, and this and that, we're attacking ourselves. And that's the whole thing behind what I meant by what I said last week. So again, I don't have heat with Booker. Yeah, we like to get on each other about who's the greatest tag team. We always do that. We do that everywhere we go. It's funny. It's entertaining. Booker says something funny. We say something funny. It's like, boom. Will we ever be able to wrestle Harlem Heat? Probably not. And I say that because, a lot of times our time is up and over. And my thing is, let the younger guys take the stage. We had our run. So there's no heat whatsoever between Booker and myself. People need to stop reaching. So what? So what? What was said was said. But again, do you know how we joke? Do you know how we interact with each other when the camera's on around? No, you don't. So stop assuming that we're going at it and we're not. So, again, there's no heat. That's just the way we are with each other. Like I did on the show when Bubba said, I wanted to warn you, Booker's here. It's like, ugh. You could have warned me before I got here. Do you honestly think that WWE would have put that in there? Oh, they probably would have, but still. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. If Booker had a problem with us, he would bring it to us. If we had a problem with Booker, we bring it to Booker. We don't have to go on social media and take cheap shots at each other. That's not what it's all about.
Nah, that's not how any of y'all roll. And you know, the show that Devon's referring to, folks, is WWE LFG. It's the new hit series that's on A&E Network, so definitely check it out Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On the latest edition, uh, Devon was a special guest, and he came out, and like you said, you know, the Dudley boys and Booker were having a little banter back and forth, but it's shocking that people would see something like that and not realize that it's joking around, it's entertainment, it's not, you know, no one's going to take it to the mattresses like it's The Godfather or something. Give me a break. Um, you know, it's important for me to get this stuff right and to make sure that the facts are out for this reason. With everything going on in society today, people are losing their jobs, the stock market is up and down, you know, people are having immigration issues. There's a lot of anxiety and fear, unfortunately, happening throughout our nation and beyond. And unfortunately, when you have people online left to their own devices, they got all those other issues and they bring it and introduce it in different ways into everything else, including pro wrestling. You know what I mean? So I don't want somebody trying to roll up on Devon with a steel chair or something like that because they don't like the fact that you got a problem with Booker T allegedly. Like we don't need these problems out there because you get an ass whooping. You know what I mean? I'm trying to save y'all out
Quick.
there.
Yep. Quick.
I'm trying to save y'all from having a problem out there. So just know that there is a such thing as entertainment. You're talking about fellas who have been up and down the road together. They're legends. Very few people will ever understand what these folks have been through, but they understand each other. So to assume that there's some kind of animosity there is just ridiculous. So I'm glad you cleared that up, big man, because I was very surprised to see that, but a lot of people were latching onto it like it was a real problem. And I'm like, come on, man, what are we doing here? You know, silly stuff.
Exactly.
You know, Devon, I was thinking about this. Um, Everybody who has a podcast, they're talking about WrestleMania, in which they should be. It's the biggest event of the year. It's the granddaddy of them all, the whole 9 yards there. And I was thinking, you know, you and I could go over the card, but we've been kind of doing that leading up to this week anyway. So I want to take a detour. I want to talk about WrestleMania from a different angle here. WrestleMania week for me as a fan has always been this thing that I got to prepare for. No matter what job I've ever had, I always make sure that the Monday after WrestleMania, I have that day off. And I always make sure that the Friday before the WrestleMania weekend, I take a half a day. Because I just want to, this is like the thing for me. You know what I mean? I want to clear my schedule. I want to relax. I want to get all my food, my drinks. Like, this is it. Don't even call me. I'm locked into WrestleMania. That's the end of it. So everything leading up to that is you got to bust your ass at work. You got to try to get ahead because you don't want to have a whole bunch of work piled up next week. You know what I mean? And everything else, tie up all the loose ends so you can actually enjoy your reward, so to speak. So that's always been my ritual on my end as a fan. But I want to talk to you as a legend, as somebody who performed at WrestleMania, as someone who has had legendary moments and what have you. We haven't really heard enough about folks like yourself and what that week is like from start to finish. So I want to open this up with the Raw before WrestleMania. Look back, brother, on your career and what have you. Give us some insight. What's the Raw before WrestleMania like? Is it like any other Raw, or is it a different energy and what have you?
No, it's a different Raw. It's the excitement, the build up, knowing that it's the last Raw and you're leaving to go to wherever WrestleMania is going to be. I think that's when everybody eats the cleanest. They don't want to eat bad. You want your body to be ready and fit. And even though you've probably been training, through the whole year leading up to this moment, but now you're getting close to the wire. You're trying to stay healthy. You're getting massages. You're going to chiropractors. You're trying to make sure that everything is loose for you. So when the time comes, you're ready to go. And I know that's what I know that was my ritual. I would basically just try to get my body as fit and ready as I possibly could.
One of the things that always terrifies me this time of year is when I'm watching matches on the Raw before WrestleMania, the SmackDown before WrestleMania, and I'm seeing people taking risks, doing dives outside the ring, or taking some bumps that are like, ooh, you kind of, you sure you want to take that bump this close to WrestleMania? What if you get injured or what have you? Does
Right.
that ever cross your mind when you're performing on the shows before the big one? Were you ever nervous or concerned about possibly getting injured?
No. I think I basically just had that mindset that I wasn't going to be hurt, that I was at my strongest. I felt great, looked great, and we're gonna go in there and tear the house down. I don't think there was any fear of that. If we were in a because we've had matches where we've had live events after Monday Night Raw or something like that, and we did them and then went to WrestleMania. But again, I don't think fear ever entered my body when it came to that because you're just so focused on WrestleMania. That's all you can think about. But you definitely taking it easy. Don't get me wrong. You're not going out there doing things that you would normally do at a live event or even on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown that could possibly injure you.
Well said. Well said. Because that's always the thing, man. And we've seen it happen. We've seen people get injured close to WrestleMania. I mean, look at poor Kevin Owens. I know it's not the week of Mania, but it did happen within the past 2 weeks where he got injured, and that pretty much knocks him out. He's not going to be competing at the big event. You know what I mean? Which is heartbreak. Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was famous for that. He would always get injured before he would have an opportunity to wrestle at WrestleMania. So getting his WrestleMania moment always was slipping through his fingers when he was with the company. So it's really a interesting and kind of scary thing when if you were to take a step back and think about it. But you stayed focused, you stayed safe, so you didn't have those problems there. So that's Raw. Now SmackDown is literally right before WrestleMania. Um, you've been on SmackDown on Tuesdays. You've been on SmackDown on Fridays. This is the last show before WrestleMania. What is that like, especially behind the scenes? What is that feeling like?
I mean, it's very, very, the intensity is not really there as much. I mean, it's enough to have a match and to make sure you entertain the people that are there in the arenas and people watching at home. But you just want to be laid back a little bit. You don't want to go out there and injure yourself. So you kind of take it a little bit easy. You don't take any risk. You just go out there and have fun. That's what a lot of people do. I know that's what Bubba and myself did. We did a lot more stupid stuff, like maybe did two what's ups in a row, you know, things like that. We did things that would still entertain the people, but not to the point where we thought we were going to injure ourselves.
What about the Hall of Fame? I mean, this is an event that's added to your schedule, and it's an event that happens after the matches. So that extends your night. This is a long night now, brother. And then you got to get up and you got to actually do WrestleMania the next day. Talk to me about that. Just the fact that you got to sit through the Hall of Fame. It's still a joyous event. Of course, you appreciate it and stuff like that. But was that ever a challenge to have to stay up that late participating in something like that, knowing you had to be on for the big event the next day?
Well, hmm, yes, and God, it's a little hard. Knowing that we had to get up. You mean like knowing that we had to get up to do WrestleMania?
Yeah, because if you have SmackDown, and then right after that you got the Hall of Fame, and then you're gonna take go to bed eventually, and then you get up, and now you got to perform at WrestleMania. I mean, brother, that's a long stretch within 24 hours.
Well, I will say this. Normally, like now, they do SmackDown and then They go change and then get in their suits and stuff, and then they go right back to the arena again. I wasn't privileged to be able to do that, thank God. Because again, we would have SmackDown on Tuesdays. We would have SmackDown on Tuesdays, and then the weekend. Remember, WrestleMania was back when we did it. It was only one night, and it was on Sunday. So you had the Hall of Fame on Friday, you had off Saturday, and then you had WrestleMania on Sunday. As opposed to having it right after SmackDown and then getting dressed and then going back out to the arena to sit down and continue to see. We didn't have the luxury of doing that. I did that as a producer, um, but I didn't do it as talent. So, again, it's people don't realize what we go through and what we put our bodies, through, not just in the ring, but even leading up to something like that. Mentally, you got to be prepared. You have to have the mindset in this business to be able to withstand anything. Professional wrestling is the hardest entertaining, or I should say, the hardest entertainment there is out there. I don't think there's anything harder than what we do in the WWE. The way you have to turn it on and off, it's incredible. And a lot of people can do that, but a lot of people can't. And for those that can't, don't last with a cup of coffee. But the ones that do, man, they're buying a whole bag of coffee grains and enjoying themselves because that's what we do. That's what we did for so long. So it's one of those things where you got to figure it out quick if this business is for you or it's not for you. But there's no time to say I'm tired or I'm beat up and this and that. You got to go.
All right. So talk to me about the day as a wrestler. We'll start as a wrestler before we get to as a producer. So back when you were most active, WrestleMania was still one day.
Uh-huh.
So it's show day. You take me through waking up in the morning. You wake up. What's your day like right from the beginning?
Well, I'm waking up. Like I said, we try to eat clean, get the nicest breakfast I possibly can, nothing filling. But my nerves would go all the time. So it was like I would barely eat breakfast. I'd barely eat lunch. You get in the car with your family if you're bringing them, get to the arena, find out what you're doing, find out if anything has changed. Um, and you're just going over stuff, just trying to make sure that what you're doing out there is going to work. And so that's a lot of what I used to do as talent. Just go out, just get to the arena. Not super early, but early enough, even like maybe 45 minutes before call time, so I can settle down, settle in, and just feel the moment of WrestleMania walking around the arena, you know, um, seeing how the production is being done. I mean, it's a different feeling, man. It's not like Raw or SmackDown or even other pay-per-views. It's a different feeling, WrestleMania. And all the hype leading up to it, man, it's amazing.
So you're going through so much emotionally, and you have to wait, right? You got to wait for the show to start. You got to wait for your match to be
Right.
called and what have you. So there's a lot of waiting around. There's a lot of nervous energy. There's a lot of dormant energy to a certain degree. How do you keep yourself awake? How do you keep yourself up?
Well, now it would be 5 Hour Energy. Back then it was Red Bull or any type of stimulant that would make you, try to stay alert. Nothing illegal, but something that made you, like I said, like a Red Bull or a version of a 5 Hour Energy back then for me. Um, but again, your nerves are going so much. You're just so excited to be there that you don't have time to, relax your body and all that. You're constantly just trying to get everything focused and ready for the match that night.
So we get to the point where your match is called. You step out, you're doing your entrance and what have you. Talk to me about that energy, especially from the crowd, because you're talking, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. 110,000 people all in one place, making noise, cheering, booing, the whole 9 yards, and they're all focused on you. They're all focused on you, your partner, Bubba. They're focused on your opponents, but all of these people are fixated on whatever it is that you guys are doing, and that doesn't even count all the people watching around the world. Whether it be PLE, pay per view, whatever you want to call it, what have you there. But talk to me about that energy, the feeling of knowing that that many people are focused on you.
It's a feeling you can't describe. It's an amazing feeling. It's a feeling that if you only done it one time in your career, you'll never forget. That's how special and amazing that feeling is. It's like a feeling like no other. Once you experience it, then you can honestly sit here and say that you know how to describe that feeling and this and that. But then there's some people that have you know been at many WrestleManias can't describe it. Now you get a guy like Triple H and ask him, you know, I'm sure Hunter will tell you almost the same. It's just a feeling like no other. When you're going out there and you're really ready for those 100,000 people or 80, 70,000 people cheering your name and just enjoying life at that point.
Is it easy to communicate with everybody in the ring, including the referee, when you have that many people? Because again, this is like double, sometimes triple your normal audience at a pay per view, PLE, or what have you. There, this is WrestleMania, so it's
Mhm.
a lot more people, a lot more noise, a lot. The acoustics are totally different. Is it difficult to communicate?
To a certain degree, it is. Especially, gotta put in perspective, everybody has their own agenda. Everybody is doing things as well. So they're focused on what they have to do. They don't have time to be focused on you, the individual. They gotta be focused on them. Even the person that you're in the match with. They're pretty much on the side thinking of ways to make the match better, just like you are. But at the same token, you're going out there and really putting on a show. And I think that's what even some of the fans don't realize. When we go out there, it's a different ball game. It's just a different feeling. To it's so hard to actually say how an individual will feel and what they're going to do to get themselves ready for this match. Listen, a lot of times, we've gone over matches and things like that during WrestleMania, and we were good. I do know WrestleMania 17, which was that ladder match, tables match, tables, ladders, and chairs, TLC. I do know during that match, I was basically bothered um, by the fact that my nerves kicked in. We're dangling with tables, ladders, and chairs. I got to hang 20 feet up with Christian. Thank God it's not Jeff. Uh, and I just I don't know. Duke, it's so hard to describe. It really is. But just know that it's something special.
Well, you brought up the TLC match from WrestleMania 17, which is interesting
Hmm.
because you guys went about 15 minutes in that match.
Yes.
Did it feel longer? Did it feel shorter? I mean, did it go quick or not?
Here's the thing. We got to the gorilla position, which is the goal position. We originally were told that we had like 25, 27 minutes. So we outlined the match to that. And then we get to the goal position. We're about to go out. All right, guys, listen. I know we told you this amount, but now you got 15 minutes. Like, what? And then we just had to get ourselves together and just, okay, this is what we're going to cut out. And then going back and forth with each other on what is appropriate to cut. I remember at 17, Edge just went, you know what, let's just go out there and feel it. And we all agreed, and that's exactly what we did.
That is so crazy. That is so crazy. Lifelong wrestling fan.
Hmm.
You're out there at WrestleMania making
Yep.
history.
Hmm.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's truly, it's a feeling like no other. It really is. You will not have that high anywhere else. I saw an interview with Triple H yesterday on Instagram, and there's something about the company that when you're in front of a WrestleMania, when you're in front of a crowd like WrestleMania or just a WWE crowd, it's not no. It's like something you've never experienced before, and it really is a rush. It's bigger than any drug you can honestly take.
Yeah, because I mean, again, you got to borrow a phrase, you got millions and millions of people around the world focused on you, and you have all of those folks, you know, 50,000, 60,000, 70,000, 100,000 people in the arena. That's the part that trips me out, man. It's like, whoa, you're this small speck and you're in this huge place and everyone they're reacting to every little thing that you do, every move, every
Hmm.
tag, every bump, everything that you do, even walking to the ring, walking back from the ring, everything that you do, all of those eyes are fixated on you. You talk about the nerves, brother. I hear what you're saying on that, because how could your nerves not go crazy when you realize that, like, everyone is paying attention to everything, which means if you do the right thing, they're gonna know. If you do the wrong thing, they're gonna know. Like, you just want to get it done right, right?
Yep, exactly, and that's the biggest thing.
Wow. That's Now I'm getting excited just even talking about that. It's like, damn, bro. That's a trip. So how does that contrast compared to when you are an agent? So you're not physically in the match, you're helping get the matches put together and all that stuff, but still you got to go through the motions, right?
Still got to go through the motions. It's just I don't know. It's just again, you can't describe it. It's you have to experience it. You really do. You have to experience it for yourself. That's how special it is. I mean, I can't put in words how this works. I mean, I really can't. And again, I think Hunter said it best. Once you step out in front of that crowd, it's like getting your first real hit on it's like a drug. You can't stop.
Wow. So now you had your match, right? You're
Hmm.
walking to the back. You've completed your task for the night, so to speak here. What does that feel like when you get to the back?
A sense of accomplishment, knowing that you went out there and did what you were supposed to do, and there was no, telling you, hey, you did this wrong. Vince wants to see you, or what have you. You just went out there, you did it, you came back, you were happy. The boss said he liked it, then you were great, and you were good.
Do you stick around for the rest of the show, or do you go about your business now?
No, I think at this point in stage of my career, I stick around. I'll stick around and watch the whole show.
Got it. I mean, hell, you got the best seat in the house, so why not, right?
And there you go. There you
So
go.
we've heard about the after party, the after WrestleMania party where
Uh-huh.
everybody gets together. It's a private event. Not just anyone can show up in there, but everyone who's supposed to be there, they're there. Talk to me about the celebration afterwards, man. What is that like?
Well, there's a lot of drinking involved, that's for sure.
You don't say.
There's a whole lot of drinking. Yeah, there's a whole lot of drinking involved. Just knowing that you're done and you accomplished everything you were supposed to accomplish in that ring that night. You told a great story. Your moves were up to par. You just got done.
Is this the equivalent of winning the World Series or winning the NBA championship? So not even the fact that you won a belt or you lost a belt at WrestleMania, just accomplishing the goal of competing at WrestleMania. Is the after party like you're celebrating the championship?
I would say so because everybody's coming up to you, great match, good job, and you feel like you've done something. You get recognized by your peers, and it's such a rewarding feeling. It really is. And you can lay your head down and be comfortable and go to sleep. But a lot of times with us, we couldn't go to sleep because our adrenaline was going so high that the next day we were at the building say by 9:30.
Whoa, I didn't realize that. You're at the building in the morning the next day.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, because if we're on Raw, in terms of the producers, then yes.
Wow. That's a trip.
Hmm.
That's a trip.
Yep.
So I mean, listen, and you've been a producer for some late WrestleManias. We're talking it doesn't even end till midnight, right? Um I can remember a few years back when I think Charlotte Flair was in the main event, and that was exactly what happened. It literally ended right around midnight because there were some issues with public transportation and things like that, curfew issues. Um, and again, the parties after that, you're probably not getting back to the hotel room till about 4 or 5 in the morning, right?
Two or three sometimes. It all depends. I mean, by the time you get out of that building and all those fans that are leaving, you got to try to beat the traffic. And although we have police escorts leading us out because we're in the tour bus, or not the tour bus, but kind of like they got a chartered bus for us, so we get right past the people. We get to the after party, and we're just celebrating, having a good time, laughing, joking, talking about the matches, talking about what we did, what we didn't do, what we should have done, talking about even some of the mess ups.
Wow, wow. So now we're at Raw. We're at Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania, which also coincides with the first day of the new fiscal year for WWE. So WrestleMania is when they close the books on their fiscal year, their business year, so to speak. So whatever money they made, it ends at that point, and now you start with the new year. Um, Talk to me about the energy regarding the Raw after WrestleMania, because now the new feuds start to get put together, right?
The new feud gets put together, but there are some people that are unhappy about it. They may not want to work with the individual or doesn't see any money in with this individual. And I know that's the way it used to be sometimes when I was there. Um, you know, because you're unhappy because maybe you thought you were going to work, Randy Orton, and main event every night, or maybe you were going to work, you know, Jimmy Johnson, who's not even a mid Carter, but yet they're saying, okay, you're going to start a little program with them, and you don't want to, but you're not going to say no. You're still going to do it. But in all eyes, that a lot of people are excited because again, there are some people that didn't make the WrestleMania card and they weren't doing anything with them like during the whole year. And they've been promised that after WrestleMania, they're going to start getting the ball rolling. Sometimes that works in the advantage of the person that's being told that. And sometimes it doesn't because then creator says, oh, I'm sorry. We had to pull we couldn't do that. So we have to go back to the drawing board with you. So now you're waiting another however long it's going to take for you to be able to get that storyline that you want. So these new storylines coming out after Mania is very important to talent because now it sees what direction where we're going. And that was always an exciting part for me and Bubba. Who they got who they're gonna bring with us next? What are we gonna do? And we would get it.
Deep, deep. When it comes to people who are experiencing their first WrestleMania, right? Because there's always somebody who's competing for the first time. Um, what advice would you have as somebody who's been through it on many occasions, both as a wrestler and as a producer? What advice do you have for the folks experiencing it for the first time?
Well, just experience it, enjoy it, have fun, cheer, boo, get excited, do what the crowd is doing. Just enjoy yourself. That's the biggest thing. That's what you're there for. You're there to be entertained. And, once you are in that zone, then it's good from that point on, but just relax and enjoy yourself. It's like being on vacation, you know, just relax and enjoy yourself, especially as a fan. You don't want to sit here and expect, over the top things to be going on and then it doesn't, then you're disappointed. Just relax and enjoy yourself. That's it, man. Think of it as a vacation, a night off, you know?
Deep. I love that. I love that. I love that behind the scenes perspective there because, again, that's not something that a lot of people talk about. Um, But it's interesting. We see The Rock, right? For instance, when The Rock comes out these days, the camera pans on his forearm, and you can literally see the
Hmm.
goosebumps. The crowd is cheering and what have you, and The Rock will show you his goosebumps, and then he slaps his forearm. Is it really that deep, brother?
It really is that deep. It really, really is. Again, it's a feeling like no other. It's WrestleMania. It's the granddaddy of them all. It is the Super Bowl, World Series, NBA championship all combined into one. Nobody puts on a show like WWE's WrestleMania. I'm sorry, nobody does. There are some that like to come close to it, but don't even come close to it. And for those of you that thinking, is he talking about me? Yes, I am. And you know who you are.
Listen,
You will never be on that level.
Seth Rollins just did an interview, picking up on what somebody else said about CM Punk. Just the fact that you ran off to go steal money from a billionaire's kid instead of toughing it out here in WWE, and now you want to come back and reap the benefits of the stuff that guys like me and Roman have built up. You left us. We had to carry the bag. We had to take the ball and run with it while you were out there playing patty cake with the billionaire's son and what have you. It just they just won't stop taking shots at Tony at this point.
Well, here's the deal. Tony opened up season on himself, saying the things that he says coming out there. Somebody should have shut him up. You cannot go out there and say the shit you say and expect people not to remember, don't forget, and want to come back at you. Just because you're a billionaire son, don't think you're off limits because you're not.
Yeah.
You can get mad all you want for me saying this, but you're not off limits. Fuck that. No, you're not off limits. Don't open up your damn mouth. There won't be a problem. You know, you don't see Vince going public and saying stupid shit in the media. You just don't.
And the few
You
times that
know
he would do something, it was always to his own benefit. It wasn't like he wasn't helping the other side out by mentioning them, you know?
exactly. It was either storyline driven or what have you. But you've never seen Vince McMahon do stuff like that.
It's wild, man. People were abuzz this week because The Rock had posted a photo of himself wearing a New Japan Pro Wrestling shirt. And there has been speculation over the past year that with New Japan Pro Wrestling continuing to not really move the needle, so to speak, they're kind of dormant as a company. They don't have any star power, unfortunately. Maybe this is an opportunity for WWE to swoop in and not just do a collaboration, but potentially uh, become a partner. Whether they buy New Japan outright or they just invest in them, something similar to what seems to be going on with WWE and TNA. What's your take on that? Do you think it would be a good idea for the WWE to find a way to partner with New Japan at least?
I think so. Again, you know, WWE is going to be always the giant when it comes to stuff like this. They just are. Whether Vince is in charge or Hunter's in charge. If you could jump on that bandwagon, then jump on it. But if you jump on it, remember, you better be qualified to jump on that. And that's the difference between a lot of companies. Listen, I'm loving the collaboration between TNA and WWE. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Duke, I believe WWE is doing something with one of the Japanese organizations, either New Japan or All Japan. Am I
Well,
correct?
they've sent talent over and done some things. They've allowed talent to compete in NXT from time to time. So yes, there is some kind of collaboration going on right now. I think it's actually with Noah, but yes, there has been something going on, and it looks like it could possibly expand to New Japan.
I mean, we did have a working relationship with All Japan and WWE back in the 80s because we saw talent like Andre, the Road Warriors when they were with them, Hogan. go over there and have these matches over there. And I just saw something on YouTube. When was it? I just saw something on YouTube the day before yesterday where they had Andre teaming up with the Great Baba versus Demolition. Yeah, and then you had was it Hogan? Hogan against Stan Hansen, I believe it was, and it was the Road Warriors against, man. Who were they working with? I can't remember, but it was huge back then. Here's the thing, man. you know, Again, I don't have any beef with Tony. I really don't. But instead of trying to say that you're the Pepsi Cola of the pro wrestling world, and the WWE is the Harvey Weinstein or Weinstein, whatever that guy's name is, they got in trouble. Should have left that alone. Number one. Number two, how about maybe trying to find out how you can make your company on the same level as them? Not saying you got to be with them or kiss their ass or anything like that, but I'm just saying burying companies, to get yourself over is never the way to go. And I think that's what his ultimate downfall was. Not downfall because he's still up and going, but not being able to um you know, stay as hot as he once was when he first came in. Because correct me if I'm wrong, dude, they have the talent.
Absolutely.
They have the talent. Not only is the talent good, they're great, and some of them come from WWE. But again, and the ball just keep being dropped, and I don't get it, nor do I understand it.
I mean, look at this. This is a prime example here, and I know we're coming off WWE for a second, but you have somebody like Mercedes Moné, the woman formerly known as Sasha Banks, right? She has been a headliner at WrestleMania. She has won the women's championship, at least 5, 6, 7 times. Um, she is one of the new stars in the Star Wars franchise. They actually created an action figure for her character, which lets you know that they got a lot of equity in that character, and they plan on doing more with that character. They see where they can make money off of her, right? You have somebody with that degree of star power. Tell me again, why would you make them champion immediately and push them to the moon? I don't understand it. Why isn't she
I don't
the
think I
AEW
don't
Women's
think
Champion? You know?
I don't know. That again, that's a question to ask him and to see what you know the answer would be. There's a lot of questions that needs to be answered, but he's not answering a lot of them. And again, I never want to see AEW fold. I just want AEW to make it, and I want them to be, another large company in the wrestling world that people respect and love. And with the talent that they have, good God, why aren't they look at like that? I've been asking because I don't really watch the product anymore. I don't watch nearly as much wrestling as I would like to because I have a life with kids and stuff like that, so I can't be glued to the television watching it. But it's just kind of like I just don't understand why they're not doing bigger numbers, not only on the ratings but in the arenas on TV, things like that. I mean, why aren't they? It doesn't make any sense to me. You have the talent, you have it, but what is the hell is going on?
Well,
And I'm hearing reports all the time about people not being used and coming in to catering, just sitting there, or some being called in literally the day before the show to come and fly in, and then when they get there, they're sitting in catering the whole time.
I honestly believe that when you don't treat the people who work for you, when you don't treat them right,
Hmm.
they're not necessarily going to feel like they are their best self. And you can't fake it. Anyone who's paying attention is going to pick up on that. So I honestly believe that part of the reason why the fans have started to turn the channel why the fans are not showing up to the arenas is because they can tell that the wrestlers are not necessarily happy over there. I think it's as simple as that. Meanwhile, in WWE, everybody kind of seems like they got sparks flying out of their backside, like they're ready to go through a wall. You know what I
Thank
mean?
God.
Yeah. Look at the kid Braun
Yeah.
Breaker and that spear he just did to Carlito the other day. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, he jumped up in
Yeah,
midair.
when he flipped.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, I saw it.
Jesus. What the hell was that? He just jumps out of the TV, brother. You know? But that kind of energy is the thing. It just, whether you're a wrestling fan or not, if I show you a clip like that, you're going to want to know more. You're going to want to see more. You're going to find that interesting. And
Mm-hmm.
in this world, and you brought it up, you saw something on Instagram and what have you, in this world where literally a 30-second, 60-second clip can literally make the biggest impression, it's like, brother, where are AEW's clips at? Do they have clips that can translate like a Braun Breaker doing that spear? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. So it just it's a blunder in my opinion, and it's going to continue to be a blunder as WWE continues to build. Because the crazy part about this is Cody Rhodes and John Cena are headlining night 2. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins are headlining night 1. The night 1 match is not for a title. And then, oh, by the way, you got Jey Uso and you have Gunther, who are competing for the other title. They're not even the main event to either night. My point in saying, and then you got the women, right? You Bianca and Io and Rhea, Charlotte and Tiffany. My point in saying all that is there is so much talent that I just mentioned, and that doesn't even scratch the surface of the rest of the roster. There's so much talent that could be in the main event that no matter what happens this WrestleMania, we're going to be eating good for the next couple of years because there's so many different types of matches that you can have on every PLE, on every Raw, on every SmackDown, and matches that people want to see, feuds that people want to see, development that people want to see. You don't even need Roman Reigns to be your champion right now. That's insane. You know what I mean? So it's just, when you compare the two, there's no comparison. It's just like night and day, brother.
And that's the part that bothers me about them because they have what it takes.
Yeah,
They do.
yeah,
It's just that the leadership is not there.
yeah.
And listen, and I keep hearing the same thing over and over. Because I'm asking, I'm like, how are they doing in ratings? How are they doing in attendance? And it's like I get every time I ask the people, they shake their heads. Oh, I don't know, Devon. It's not good. I'm like, don't tell me this company's gonna fold, because I don't know. People were saying, well, daddy's gonna get tired of giving his money if he ain't making a profit, and so forth and so on. And if that's the case, then you better come up with something quick.
Quick, like yesterday, please. My goodness.
Hmm.
Anyway, let me wrap it up on this. Do you allow Cody Rhodes to walk out of WrestleMania champion, or do you put the belt on Cena and then quickly transition him to his next feud?
My thing is, I say leave it on Cody.
Wow.
I mean, that's my opinion, and I say that because it would help Cody. And remember, if John is only here for 1 year and it's less than that now because, he said he was going to be done in December, then why not do something that's going to put Cody in the next atmosphere to where he's the guy that maybe be the face of the company, or what have you. Maybe he needs that boost that'll get him where he needs to be. John already has it. Win, lose, or draw, John is still going to be over. And in my opinion, it doesn't matter.
Wow. So does that mean that John never breaks Flair's record? Is that what you would book?
Oh, I forgot about the record. Geez. Let me ask you this. What if he doesn't win and say SummerSlam he wins and then come December he walks out?
Yeah, hey, listen, his last match he could win. He could break the record during his last match, and I would be happy with that. And then he retires champion who broke the record.
Well, not only that, but then you can have a tournament, and that's even more exciting, like they did at WrestleMania 4.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or whoever wins the Royal Rumble could be the champion, which I'm not as interested in that. I'd rather see it happen at Mania, but there's a lot of ways you can go with that if Cena retires champion. So why put the belt on him now, like you said? Why not just wait to the end and put it on him? Huh.
Again, that's a question for creative, yeah. And I don't know where they're thinking or where their mindset is. So, and I'm not even sure, you know, if John is really leaving in December,
Mm.
like it is reported. Maybe he's just saying it. Maybe he's not just saying it. Maybe he is. But I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting this weekend and leading up to John's retirement.
Well, because listen, our friends over in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, they're dropping $50 million per event. Are you really going to sit here and tell me they're not going to get at least one John Cena match? Come on.
Mm,
Come on. All that money, you're not going to give them a John Cena match?
yeah, that's true.
I think you got to give it to them. On the balance sheet, when we look at what WWE makes for the year and what have you, those Saudi shows are the difference maker, man. I mean, it's very difficult. If you have $1 million house, that's tremendous. The fact that you can do one event and walk away with $50 million profit, come on, brother. You just paid for Raw for the whole year.
Yeah, pretty
You
much.
know what I'm saying? You just paid for Raw for the whole year with that one event. So how do you not give them at least one last John Cena match?
Yeah. Well, we're going to get it at WrestleMania.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Speaking of which, WrestleMania week, where is Devon Dudley gonna be? This is like, where in the world is Waldo or what have you here? Where are you gonna be, for the week here, brother?
I'm going to be all over Vegas. I'm going to be at WrestleCon. I'm going to be at this it's like a tailgate appearance I'm going to do at the arena. I mean, I'm going to be all over the place, so it's going to be a very busy week for me. But the same token, forgive me for saying this, but man, I can't wait for it to be over already. I'm just tired. I'm just tired just thinking about all the crap that we're going to have to do when we get there. But that's the fun part about it. You're making money, you're enjoying yourselves. Listen, you could be digging ditches for a living and be unhappy. Nothing wrong with digging ditches, but you can be doing that and being unhappy with your life. So I'm very grateful. I'm very humble to know that the Lord has blessed me not only to have a 25-year career in the wrestling business as in talent, but not to mention even outside as a producer. And of course, my new, found thing with the YouTube channel. So I'm very happy to be able to still be able to do that and make money and to be able to still provide for the family.
Yeah, like you said, you could be digging ditches. So
Uh-huh.
the fact that all you got to do is meet the fans, sign some autographs, share some memories. It's not a bad life you're living right now, brother.
No, it's not. Listen, it's a beautiful life compared to some of the people from the Andre and Hogan era who are now starting to reap the benefits of Comic Cons and things like that. They're starting to understand how this works. So, as far as I'm concerned, you know, this is WrestleMania weekend is a learning experience for everybody who's there for the first time. I think you asked me earlier about a fan. If you're there for if the fan is there for the first time, what to expect or something like that. But again, just enjoy yourself, take it all in, because you're probably, if you never go to another WrestleMania, you'll never experience anything like that again, especially in Vegas.
Well
And to
said.
everybody out there in Vegas, if to everybody out there in Vegas, if you're in there betting, best of luck to you, man. I've got hooked. I was playing blackjack and got hooked on that
Uh-oh.
so much. Dropped $400 and was scared. I mean, that's nothing to a lot of people, but it hurt me.
Because it goes quick now. Blackjack, it goes
Oh, it
quick.
goes real quick. And I'm listen, I'm cheap as hell. I'm gonna let you know right now. So every time they kept taking that money away from me, I was crying.
Man, listen. I when I go to Vegas, we'll do like the penny slots and things like that, just so we can extend the time in the casino. I'm really getting it for the free drinks. But I did find the craps, the craps game, the dice game. Instead of
Mhm.
doing it with a dealer, they have the video craps where everybody sits around this big dome and you press the button and then the dice get flipped automatically and what have you. That was my thing. And just
Right.
like you said, it hurt when you lose, brother, because it goes quick. So
Oh, quick, like you wouldn't believe.
yeah, yeah,
I was crying.
yeah, for good reason.
Yeah, for very good reasons. For very good reasons.
So once again, folks, Devon is going to be at WrestleCon. You can head over to WrestleCon.com for more information. I know the Dudley boys together are going to be there on Thursday, actually, right? So the first day you guys are going to be there is
Yes.
Thursday, the 17th. Devon is going to stick around for the whole weekend, though. We have you listed here Thursday through Sunday. Is that accurate there?
Yes, it is. It's very accurate.
So, hey, you have no excuse, folks. Go out, see the big man. Definitely get a picture, get an autograph, share a good laugh, and what have you. That's what it's all about. WrestleMania weekend, and really WrestleMania week, I should say, is the biggest convention in all of pro wrestling. So all of these other events that are happening to help supplement what WWE is doing, something like WrestleCon is a great opportunity. All you fans from around the world, come check Devon out, man. Let him know what you think of the show, the YouTube, the whole 9 yards. Have some fun, for sure, for sure. Outside of that, Devon, what's the best way you can keep up with you, brother?
On my YouTube channel, Devon Dudley YouTube channel, which is doing extremely well. We are now at let me see, we are now at as I'm trying to figure this out, 142,467 subscribers. Remind you, that's all in 2 months.
So when I tell you that the Devon Dudley brand has never been hotter, and you look at me like, really? So I don't know, man.
Listen, I'm just very blessed and honored to even have these people want to even listen to anything that I have to say. So, thank you very much for all your love and support on the channel. And, doing these autograph signings, there's a lot of people coming up saying, we love your YouTube channel. We love what you say. We love how you tell stories. Again, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that wholeheartedly. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. That's the good stuff there. Well earned, well deserved, for sure. Folks, as always, Duke Loves Rasslin on Facebook, on Twitter, DukeLovesRasslin@gmail.com. Continue to send your shout outs and what have you. We got some great things on the horizon. As always, you just got a real nice peek behind the curtain here Devon shared with us, which is very, very special. Appreciate that. So, until next time, which will be after WrestleMania, why don't you give us our word of the week, my brother?
If you don't leave your past in the past, it will destroy your future. Live for what today has to offer, not for what yesterday has to take away.
Woo,
Testify.
testify. My brother.
Strictly for the culture every day. Stepping style in your unique way. Patterns and colors so defined. All about the perfect line. Be yourself, let your spirit fly. In this fashion, you'll touch the sky. Strictly for the culture, brand so fine. Dress to impress and show your shine. Strictly for the culture, every day. Step in style in your unique way.
Visit www.strictlyfortheculture.ca
whispers and the crowds roar. From matching giants to legends of yore. Devon's wisdom and Duke's keen view. Every episode feels like it's brand new. Devon and Duke bring the heat. Wrestling tales knock you off your seat. Tune in now, don't you be late. Wrestling podcast never